Good morning, students. We are doing the next topic, chromatography. We are doing the topic, different methods to separate the components of the mixture. The next process we are considering, that is the chromatography. Chromatography is the method that is used for separating the colored component from a liquid by using a filter paper or the blotting paper. Now, we need to understand what is the process of the chromatography. Now, chromatography means, what is meaning of that? We have to separate the colored component from a liquid by using filter paper or blotting paper. Now, what we have to do in this, chromatography is the method if we consider, suppose we want to separate the components of the ink. If suppose we consider ink. Now ink, it is not made up of single component, it is made up of various type of dyes, and these dyes which we are using to prepare the ink will have the different type of solubilities. Now what is the principle behind the chromatography? What we have to do, we have to take a filter paper, we are taking a glass rod. This glass rod is, in this glass rod we are attaching one filter paper, and this filter paper is soaked into the this we are keeping, with the help of this glass rod we are keeping on to the jar. On jar we are keeping this filter paper, and the water is there. Now what happened, due to the capillary action, this water will start coming on the filter paper. Now since this ink, it is made up of various type of component, or we can say the number of the dyes we are using in the ink, the component which is having the solubility first, it will start forming, this will come up. Now as the layer it is coming up, the different types of the dye will get separated. You will get a different type of the dots. When you complete the process, take out the filter paper, and when we dry this, you will see these dots. And what are these dots? These dots are the component which is dissolved into the, or we can say the different type of the dye when we are using into the ink. So this method, chromatography, it is used, the chromatography, it is used to separate the colored component, the component which are there into the any component. To, if we want to separate them, we can use the process of chromatography. And what is the principle behind that? The component which is getting dissolved, the component which is dissolved first will form the first layer, followed by the second, and so on. So the first solubility of the component will be the first dot, and the component which is dissolved on later will get at the last. Okay, now what are the applications of the chromatography? To separate the different colors in the dye, different pigments are there from that of the natural colors, and the drugs from the blood. We can use this process of the chromatography. The one important thing we have to remember, that this should be dipped into properly, it should place into the water. If you are not placing it properly here, the capillary action will not takes place. Okay, so we are taking a spot of ink, and since ink, it is made up of different type of component, will, as the water will come up, it will dissolve this components, or we can say the dye in which we are using for the ink, and we will get the different type of dots when we dry this filter paper. So this chromatography, it is used to separate the colored component from the liquid by using filter paper or blotting paper. For this, what we need just a glass jar. This jar, it is there, a glass rod is there on which the filter paper it is attached, and we'll put a drop of the ink here. After putting the ink on the filter paper, this filter paper will be tied here, and due to the capillary action, as the water will come up, what will happen, it will dissolve the different components. And what are the applications of it? We are using in the color to separate the colors in dye, then we are using the different pigment from the natural colors, and drugs from blood.